The death of a dragon shakes King's Landing as the Targaryen dynasty's power is challenged. Dragons signify power and invincibility to the Targaryens, but parading a dragon's head weakens their authority. The fall of Meleys is seen as a dark omen, foreshadowing the downfall of House Targaryen. The fifth episode of the second season of House of the Dragon showcased the repercussions of the Battle of Rook's Rest. The conflict continues escalating as the Blacks and the Greens suffer significant losses on either side. Dragons have officially entered the war, and there's no stopping what has been unleashed into the world created by George R.R. Martin. The outcome of the battle in Rook's Rest sees King Aegon II Targaryen, Tom Glencairn, and Sunfyre severely injured, and Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, Eve Best, and Meleys meet their end. Under the colossal miscalculation of the new hand of the king, Criston Cole, Fabian Frankel, the Greens attempt to appeal to the small folk by parading Meleys' head, the largest dragon on Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen's, Emma Darcy, side. It has the opposite effect, inciting unease among the common folk of King's Landing. Parading Meleys' head through the streets was a mistake. Dragons are majestic beasts that give House Targaryen the power it has, everything they have is owed to them. The Targaryens believe themselves to be superior beings because of their ability to bind themselves to dragons. This belief is shared by people outside the family because they bear witness to the power that the Targaryens wield as dragon riders. Aegon I Targaryen, the Conqueror, and his sister wives were able to bring Westeros to its knees because of dragons, and the Targaryens have been able to keep Westeros under their control because they understand and respect the dragons that have given them everything they owe. WN.IN Season 1, Episode 1, Rhaenyra mentions the idea that Targaryens are godlike beings, and she holds fast to this idea throughout the season, as she mentions it again in Episode 10. Everyone says Targaryens are closer to gods than to men, but they say that because of our dragons. Without them, we're just like everyone else. The reality is that the Targaryens are no different from the other houses and the common folk without their dragons. The grandeur of the dragons is not lost on the small folk of King's Landing, they're both fearful and awestruck by these gorgeous creatures. With this perspective of dragons in mind, people believe them to be invincible, but Cole's attempt at showing the Green's strength only indicates weakness in the power the Targaryen family wields. They now see that this indestructible power can be destroyed, damaging the reputation of House Targaryen. A dark omen follows the death of a god in House of the Dragon. With dragons held in high esteem and believed to be gods, the fall of this great power is impactful on the people of the Red Keep. Rhaenyra is distraught following the loss of Rhaenys and Meleys, and Mysaria, the White Worm, informs her that the people in the Red Keep disapproved of Meleys' head being paraded down the streets. Their superstitions see this disrespect as a bad omen, one that Rhaenyra also sees. Dragons aren't like other creatures. Therefore, they should be honored as their status dictates rather than mocked. The mockery of parading a dragon's head isn't something the small folk take lightly. By witnessing the spectacle, they see the murder of a god, signifying that everyone involved in the death and ridicule of Meleys will suffer the wrath of a greater power. Westerosi people are a religious bunch, and they believe in superstitions and omens, so what the Greens believe to be a victory has now become their demise. What does the future hold for House Targaryen? Witnessing the House of the Dragon turn against itself with kin fighting kin, the small folk are disillusioned with the Targaryens, which isn't something to be taken lightly. When the people of a kingdom turn against the crown, the monarch's time is limited. The people of Westeros now know that the might of Targaryen's power can be challenged, which sets up a pivotal event from Fire and Blood to make its way onto the show. The veil of false power has fallen, and the small folk now see they can rise against the lords who rule them with the right weapons. After the war is over and the victor ascends the throne, the common folk are left angered by the tragedies of the war and see their lives as collateral to people far removed from their realities. The devastation of war included scarce food and higher taxes, which led to more anger from the monarch's subjects. In the novel, the small folk were left with uncertainty following several events throughout the war, but their resentment of dragons and the ruling monarch led to the storming of the dragon pit. Now that they know that the Targaryens and their dragons are breakable, fearlessness drives the slaying of 4 dragons in the pit. The book recounts that thousands lost their lives, but ordinary men managed to take down a great force once to have been believed to be unconquerable. House of the Dragon is streaming on Max.